Hi, this is Katie Honey from Priority Management, and welcome to our Outlook Hints and Tips. Today we're looking at using voting buttons. Voting buttons are a really great way of collecting simple information or preferences from a group of people. And in the example I'm going to show today, I'm sending an email asking people to return their preference for the location of a conference that I'm organising. Now, ordinarily, if I send an email out to people asking for that type of information, of course I'll need to manage all of the responses, but using voting buttons makes that a much simpler process. All you need to do is start a new email, just in the normal way, and I'm just going to put location for conference as the subject, and then in the body, of course, I need to type the information into there. So I'm typing the email asking people to return their preference regarding the location of the conference. I'm also asking people to use the voting buttons because often people won't have very much experience of using voting buttons, so it's always worth putting that in the body. Then when you are ready to add your voting buttons, you just need to use the options ribbon at the top of your email, and you'll find a button there labelled Use Voting Buttons, and when you click on this you will see that there are some standard options, approve and reject, yes, no, and so on, but you're also able to add your own custom buttons, and that's what I want to do in this email. So I'm going to click on Custom, and in the Properties dialog box that opens, you'll see that there's a section, a field ready for your options for your voting buttons. Okay, all you need to do is type your choices in here. So I'm going to type London, semicolon, Manchester, semicolon, Glasgow. Okay, so in this email I'm just giving people 3 choices. You can give as many choices as you need to, but people are only able to make one choice. Okay, so they have to choose one of those options. Once you're happy with those voting buttons, which are separated of course by that semicolon, then you can close that window, and there's an information bar or an information message at the top of your email, just underneath the ribbon, that tells you that you have added voting buttons to this message. Then you would just address it, and you would address it to, of course, all of the people that you want to send that email to. I'm just going to send it to one person just for this demonstration, but as many people, of course, as you need to, and then you can just send it in the normal way. So that's how to add voting buttons to an email. What I wanted to show you was what that email looks like to the recipients that you're sending it to. So I have one here with voting buttons, and I'm just going to open that so that you can see. Again, this is asking about a preferred location for a conference, and it's also asking people to use vote to access the choices and to return the preference. So you can see at the top of the email there's also some information telling me to vote by clicking vote in the respond group, and there is the vote button. When I click on the vote button, it will then show me the choices that the email has got. Okay, so I need to make one of these choices. So in this example, let's just say that I want to choose London. I can just click on that, and then I can just say OK to send the response now, or if I wanted to add a comment or something like that, I could choose to edit the response before sending as well. I'm just going to say OK to that, and that will send my response, and the information at the top of the email now tells me what my response was. So it's telling me that I responded London, and it gives me the date and the time that that response was made. So now we've seen how to send an email that has voting buttons, and also what to do with an email that you receive that's got voting buttons, and what that looks like and how that works. I also wanted to show you how Outlook manages all of those votes, because like I said, ordinarily if I just sent an email out asking people for a choice like that, I would have to manage all of the responses, whereas with a voting button email, I don't need to worry about the responses because Outlook will process them for me. All I need to do when I want to see the status of the responses or to check on that is to go to my sent items. When you use an email with voting buttons, so long as it stays in the sent items, it will process the results, so you must make sure that you leave it there. And you'll see the sent item, once it's got some responses, will show this tracking symbol where ordinarily you'd see the envelope icon. So that shows me that there have been some responses that are being tracked, and I can just open that email whenever I want to, and there will then be a tracking button that I can use, and that will show me all of the individual responses that I've received. So it shows me the recipient that I've received the response from, and it shows me of course what the response is, and also the date and time that the response was made. So I'll be able to look at that list of individual responses, but also at the top of that list it also shows me some more information, and the important information there is the reply totals, because Outlook will tally up all of the responses that you have received and will show you those totals. So any time I could look at this tracking on the sent item and I would see 10 people said London, 12 people said Manchester, 15 people said Glasgow. So that does all of that work for me. So that is how to use voting buttons, and I hope that that has been useful, and that you will all begin using voting buttons to save you some work. And thanks very much for listening.